Alright, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders have been great millstone who've ruled well and taught us this truth. And the sincere peace and salutations to all the Akim pushing his word and truth and in all sincerity. It's the brother Ganan from the DC Church coming back at you with a quick video. Lord's will be quick. Salakia for the no garment, as you can see I'm on the go. I just want to go into real quick being born again. You know, just that concept of being born again, and how Matthew 18 tell you, except if you come, you have to come as a little child. You know, in order to receive this truth. You know, roughly paraphrasing. Basically, you have to be born again in order to truly get and understand this truth. And we're talking about on a spiritual level. You know, you got Nicodemus. He asked Yahweh Shai in St. John the 3rd chapter, how can a man be born again if he's already old? And that's a fleshly way of thinking, and that's what Yahweh Shai said to Nicodemus. He said, how can I tell you heavenly things if you can't understand earthly things? You know, Nicodemus didn't understand this concept, and a lot of Jake don't understand it even still now today. Being born again is the process of killing your old man. Pursuant to Ephesians the 4th chapter, starting at the 20th verse, says, if you have not so learned of Yahweh Shai, but if you have learned of him and have been taught by him as the truth is in Yahweh Shai, then you put off concern in the form of conversation, and now that's that process. And even for brothers, from like I say, from me on down, about 7 to 8 years on down. Just speaking for us, I'm not going to, speak for the, men over us, the top elders, in our regions and, the top men in GMS. But speaking for us, we're still being born again. That process is still going. It says where you put off, back in Ephesians, where you put off concerning the form of conversation, the old man, what you're doing is killing off who you've always known yourself to be in this world before you came into this truth. And that's including if you was into the Bible, if you was a Christian, or if you were a Muslim, or fucking, what are they called? You get 7-day Adventists, the Jehovah Witnesses, and all of that, man. No matter what you are, you have to come in this truth as a little child. And why is that used as an example? Is because a child knows nothing, man. A child is naturally humble because he knows nothing. He's not taught pride. A child is also like a sponge. So what you're teaching him is he's soaking it all up, man. He's soaking all that information all the way up. So when you come into this truth, you learn from the men that's over you, and you also learn to study and look up things for yourself. But most importantly, you start to understand the scriptures through experience. I had a long conversation with the elder, the Ra'ash elder, the head brother in the DC church in this region. He was just dropping jewels on me, and the conversation we had was for me and him, but it just goes to show that you're constantly learning, you're constantly being born again. That new man, that spirit that's on us, we have to embrace this truth in order to actually grow. You got to check the things that like if you got traits that was about yourself, like if you were in high school in the world and you were one of those students that always talk back, always had something to say, you know, that was kind of short to anger. You know, if that was you and you see those traits coming back, you got to immediately check that and confront those spirits, because that's a part of the war that is that Apostle Paul was talking about over in Romans the 7th chapter. You know, you got to go hard on that old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust. Back into Ephesians, it says you got to put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust. You know, the deceitful lust is the ways that we were taught before we came into this truth, man. So when Yahushua said to Nicodemus, it says, he said, except a man be born again, he shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. You know? And he said, then Nicodemus said, how can a man be born again if he's already old? And I believe Yahushua said, he has to be born again by way of water and the spirit, which is the words, man, which is ultimately Yahushua, which that's what Ephesians was talking about, man, getting straight into the point. You know, if you've been taught of Yahushua, then you got to put off concerning the former conversation, and that old man going to pop back up, but you have to know how to recognize it, and that goes into the true examination of yourself, man. One of the biggest keys into obtaining salvation is constantly examining yourself. And it's hard to examine yourself when you always talking, when you always got something to say, especially when you're young, when you super young. You know, we've been in here for a few years, but you know, I still recognize that I'm young. And when, you know, the elders call me, or if I'm kicking it with the elders, you know, you wanna grab what they're saying, man. Even if you're getting cussed out, and it don't really feel well to get cussed out, or even if you feel like you're getting cussed out and the whole story is not even put out, you still got to take it, because you got to understand what's being said to you in the spirit, and how the spirit is confronting that old man that's within you. That's why in Proverbs 9 and 8, it says, reprove a wise man and he shall love you, or reprove a scorner and he shall hate you. You know, the way this world have taught us is to not like correction. You know, buck up at correction. I know in the world I used to do that. You know, always buck up. You know, when all right, now you done pissed me off, man. Now you keep cussing me out. You done pissed me off. I got something to say. Well, that's the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust. When you hear Yahushua, Ephesians tell you that you got to put on a new man, which is after true righteousness and holiness, man. You know? When you recognize things in the spirit, you know, you got to truly be born again and embrace the process in this truth, and that's how you get longevity. You know, that's how you don't fall out, get butthurt like these you know, these guys that want vainglory, man. But yeah, man, you know, that's it. You know, that was what's on my mind. You know, I was thinking about, you know, the conversation I had with the Elder Kasap, and it was heavy, man. You know, it's the conversation you have with plenty of these elders, man. You know, the Elder Zion Allah, you know, the top brother, you know, in the region, Monagon. You know, they be saying things and they don't realize what they say, and it be super heavy, man. It be super heavy, and it help you go back and examine yourself. You know, even that Elder Pasha, you know, shout out to that, that brother. super spiritual, man. And you learn that you still need to check you constantly gotta examine yourself. You constantly gotta make sure that you're doing the things that's well pleasing unto the Heavenly Father, and that you're growing your spirit. Because the spiritual man that we're growing up to be is always going to be here. Even if we die on this side by way of a guillotine or whatever the case may be, that spirit that we're building up right now is always going to be here. And that old man that we're breaking down and that we're killing off will never come back. You see? So it's important to embrace this transformation of ourselves, you know, and be born again. But that's just the thoughts I was having, man. You know, Salakia for being all over the place. But yeah, man, you know, to whom this may be for, may the Lord help him receive it. But with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Ruchakudash. You know, double honors to our elders, you know, and our apostles, the men that's over us and that teach us, you know, daily. Hey, Shalom.